All right, Powered. Here we are live on the internet once more. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Today we're going to show a bit about when it comes regarding page building, how to solve page builders in Crystallize, basically. I think that's the introduction board. I think we can get started.
You're getting better and better on these introductions.
Yeah, I know.
So we're talking about design patterns today. So data modeling design patterns. We're talking about very common design pattern for page builder. There are a couple of other use cases also with very similar patterns, but in this case, we're going to focus on the use case of you're going to have a landing page or a category where you want to merchandise different types of content, and you want the editorial users to be able to do that with a certain set of freedom also, but all constrained within the design system and the limitations that the designer has set. So that's the context, and here we essentially see the pattern where you have a landing page, campaign page, category page, where you have typically these stacks of blocks or the different sections that you can reuse across different landing pages. For example, a list of products, a main banner with some call to actions, maybe some I don't know, stories or images or maybe USPs, things like this. Basically elements that you use to essentially build out a landing page. And we used Flare, our AI data modeling tool today, where we basically sent the setup of what Didrik will show this live in a bit. Essentially the data modeling for two different types of landing pages. One is what we call a landing page. So typically more for creating campaigns from pages of your storefront, things like this. And another, which is called a category. And this is typically a pattern you see when you're building your catalog structure, the information architecture in Crystallize, where you want to be able to merchandise also on the different categories. So if it's a category called plants and you want to merchandise selected products, highlighted stories, picture grids for inspiration, things like this, you're able to do that editorially without involving any developers. And the same goes for the landing page here. Now, this is the pattern we have here is essentially a very composed data structure, because we have a key component here, which is the multiple choice component, which here is called blocks, and where we have a bunch of pieces inside of it. So if we expand this model and just take a look at the actual pieces themselves, the blocks, because here there are a couple of things. One is if you take let's start at something simple, just a product slider. So this is a piece that allows you to have a relation to multiple products, which is yet another shape. You can give it a title and description. If you want to have a header, staff picks with a description, things like this. And then you have this pattern here, the layout piece, because with omni-channel commerce, you want to be able to control the way content is presented for a specific channel or a specific market. But you might also want to enable the marketeers that are setting up and merchandising the landing pages to be able to, within the scope of the design system, say, for example, it's a light, dark, or it's a branded theme, for example, so that you can kind of choose a little bit the look and feel. Background media is a common pattern. Maybe you want to have display width, if it should be contained or full width, things like this. So these are sorry. These are some typical pieces that that we see are being used, and of course the point is you can make your own, right? Here you have product slider, example of a banner. What else? Picture grid, visual merchandising of pictures, maybe with hot-spotted showcases inside. Feature highlight, which is more of a marketing piece where you typically have three unique selling points that you want to highlight, for example, things like this. So essentially, that is the pattern where you have here on the landing pages, you have the ability to choose among the available predefined blocks, the pieces. You are able to define the different types of pieces, story slider, product slider, banner, etc. And common for them all is typically that you have a layout piece in addition that you can tweak the look and feel of these. So what we're looking at here is essentially the data model, right? So the full view here is the complete data model of what you can use for a storefront with proper page building, merchandising on both categories and landing pages. And you might say, well, this is pretty nerdy to look at some data models. How does this affect my day-to-day work, Didrik?
Oh, I guess that's my cue. So here we go. For those of you who has been looking at the live streams before, you've probably seen this example store that we have created. And many of the things that the board was showing, like, okay, here we actually have the feature highlight, which is a piece inside of a multiple choice block. So here you can see we have desked some content on, in this case, the index page. So the landing page of the domain.
And desked is kind of the Norwegian English word for merchandised, right?
It is. It is. Thank you. But what if we want to do changes? Like, let's say, okay, these USBs that we have here, let's rearrange them because I think this USB should be in the middle. Then you can quickly work with the content because it's structured. So the front end will always know what to do. And of course, here we are working on the draft before we are publishing. Hence also, what I should have introduced to it, the split view, which you can see the preview of the website, also now in different sizings, depending on the use case.
And this could also be for different markets, right? So that you can have, or different channels. So it's not like you necessarily only have one preview, because it could be different previews for different markets or different segments of customers and things like this. But what's interesting here, Didrik, is that you're working on very structured data on the left-hand side, but you instantly see the visual preview of your changes on the right.
Of course, and like I said, they could be multi-channel. So here the web is one channel, but another channel could be PDF, point of sale system, whatever suits your needs. And you did talk about the layout. So in this case, this might be, let's call it a channel-specific piece where you have layout for the web. We just called it the layout here because we know it's for the web. If you have multi-channel, you could have different pieces for different channels to define different layouts.
And
if necessary.
Both with layout, you can also have different data for different channels if you want. And that's all up to how you configure these pieces and these data models.
Yes. And as you can see, here is the layout piece. And in this case, we have display width. It should be contained. We have some theming. Theming is then, of course, then defined in the storefront. So if I say, okay, here, I want this to be dark, this section would become dark, or even vivid, adding some more content. I can even go and say, you know what? I think the products here should be at the bottom. And then it will update, and you can see them at the bottom instead. So the page builder is, in essence, it's a multiple choice with a combination of pieces, which is a And then a piece is a group of structured components, again, that you can reuse across all your shapes and different pieces.
Sweet. That's essentially it. So what do we get? Well, we get a simple and visual user interface for the editorial users. They can build their own pages. You don't have to involve developers in order to change anything on the landing page. So time to market for a new campaign or a new category page with merchandise products. You can do that very visually and very, very easy. And this is, of course, probably one of the more common design patterns that we see in all storefront implementations on Crystallize, focusing more on the marketing side of things, where we, in the previous live streams with data modeling, we have talked a lot about structured product data, reusable components within different types of products. So check those out if you're interested. We are going to do another live stream next week. As I showed you here, the AI tool, Flare, that we've also shown earlier, that actually did create this whole model just by a couple of prompts, because it's got the best practice and learning included. So you can also request early access there already. Next week, we will talk about another skill in the Flare service. So if you want to check that out, like and subscribe, Didrik. Is that what they're saying? Then you'll get a notification. And feel free to join our Slack community to discuss with us and come with suggestions, questions. See you in the next one.
See you in the next one.